From the early days of arcade games to the complex strategies of modern gaming, the tower defense genre has captivated players with its unique blend of strategy and action. Today, we take a journey through the evolution of tower defense games, exploring the major titles that have shaped this beloved genre. The roots of tower defense can be traced back to the early 1980s. Though not strictly tower defense, games like Space Invaders and Missile Command laid the groundwork with their defensive gameplay mechanics. Players were tasked with protecting the base or area from waves of enemies, a core concept that would later define tower defense. These games were revolutionary for their time, introducing mechanics that required quick reflexes and strategic placement of defenses. Space Invaders, developed by Tomohiro Nishikado and released in 1978, challenged players to protect their base from descending waves of aliens. Its success was unprecedented, creating a template for future arcade shooters and influencing the development of defensive gameplay mechanics. Similarly, Missile Command, released by Atari in 1980, required players to defend 6 cities from incoming ballistic missiles. The game's tension and urgency added a new layer of complexity as players had to prioritize and manage limited resources. In 1990, Atari released Rampart, a game often credited as the first true tower defense game. Rampart combined the building and repairing of fortifications with strategic placement of cannons to fend off enemy attacks. This blend of construction and defense set the stage for future games in the genre. Players were given a limited time to construct their fortifications before waves of enemies attacked, requiring quick thinking and strategic planning. The game's innovative mechanics and competitive multiplayer mode provided a new and engaging experience that laid the groundwork for the tower defense genre. The early 2000s saw a major evolution in tower defense games with the release of Warcraft 3: Reign of Chaos by Blizzard Entertainment. The game's robust map editor allowed players to create custom maps, many of which were tower defense games. Element TD and Wintermall Wars were among the most popular, introducing mechanics such as basing and elemental damage types. These custom maps allowed players to experiment with different strategies and game mechanics, fostering a creative and collaborative community. These custom maps not only expanded the gameplay possibilities of Warcraft 3, but also laid the foundation for many standalone tower defense games that followed. The mid-2000s brought tower defense games to web browsers with titles like Desktop Tower Defense and Flash Element TD. These games reached a wide audience due to their accessibility and simplicity. Desktop Tower Defense, created by Paul Priest in 2007, allowed players to place towers in a free-form manner, encouraging creative strategies and path manipulation. Flash Element TD, another popular browser-based tower defense game, built upon the success of Element TD from Warcraft 3. It featured a variety of towers with different elemental damage types, encouraging players to experiment with different combinations and strategies. The game's accessibility and engaging gameplay made it a favorite among casual gamers, further establishing the tower defense genre as a staple of browser-based gaming. In 2009, PopCap Games released Plants vs. Zombies, a game that became a cultural phenomenon. Plants vs. Zombies introduced a charming and humorous twist to the genre, with players using various plants to defend their home from waves of zombies. Its polished gameplay and engaging mechanics brought tower defense to a mainstream audience. The game's colorful graphics, quirky characters, and catchy music made it instantly appealing, while its deep and varied gameplay kept players coming back for more. Plants vs. Zombies stood out for its unique blend of strategy and humor. Players had to carefully choose and place different types of plants, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, to fend off increasingly challenging waves of enemies. The game's progression system, which introduced new plants and zombies as players advanced through the levels, kept the gameplay fresh and exciting. Additionally, the game featured various modes, including a survival mode, puzzle challenges, and minigames, providing a wealth of content and replayability. The success of Plants vs. Zombies demonstrated the broad appeal of tower defense games, attracting both casual and hardcore gamers. Its innovative gameplay and charming presentation inspired a new wave of tower defense games that sought to capture the same magic, solidifying the genre's place in the gaming landscape. As the 2010s began, the genre continued to evolve with games like Kingdom Rush and Defense Grid: The Awakening. Kingdom Rush, released in 2011 by Ironhide Game Studio, featured a fantasy setting, distinct hero units, and branching upgrade paths for towers. The game's detailed artwork and engaging story added depth to the traditional tower defense formula, creating an immersive experience for players. Defense Grid: The Awakening, developed by Hidden Path Entertainment and released in 2008, offered a more traditional tower defense experience with a focus on tactical placement and resource management. The game's intricate level design and strategic depth provided a satisfying challenge for players, encouraging them to experiment with different tower combinations and placements. Both Kingdom Rush and Defense Grid: The Awakening showcased the potential for tower defense games to offer deep and engaging experiences. The mid-2010s saw the rise of mobile gaming and with it, tower defense games like Bloons TD5 and Clash Royale. Bloons TD5, by Ninja Kiwi, built upon its predecessors with new towers, upgrades, and cooperative play. The game's colorful graphics and whimsical theme made it accessible to players of all ages, while its deep and challenging gameplay kept them engaged. Bloons TD5 was a continuation of the popular Bloons series, which began as a simple browser game where players pop balloons using darts. The tower defense iterations of the series expanded on this concept, introducing a variety of towers, each with unique abilities and upgrade paths. The cooperative multiplayer mode allowed players to team up and tackle challenging levels together, adding a social aspect to the gameplay. The game's success on mobile platforms demonstrated the genre's expanding appeal, as players could enjoy strategic gameplay on the go. Clash Royale, developed by Supercell and released in 2016, combined tower defense with real-time strategy and collectible card game elements, creating a unique and addictive multiplayer experience. The game features a variety of troops, spells, and defenses that players could deploy in real-time battles against opponents. Clash Royale quickly became a global sensation, attracting millions of players and fostering a competitive esports scene. In recent years, tower defense games have continued to innovate and blend genres. Dungon Defenders, released in 2011 by Trinity Entertainment, merged action RPG elements with traditional tower defense mechanics, allowing players to actively participate in combat. Players could choose from different hero classes, each with unique abilities and defenses, to fend off waves of enemies. The game's cooperative multiplayer mode encouraged teamwork and coordination, making it a popular choice among friends and online communities. Dungon Defenders offered a rich and immersive experience, with players leveling up their heroes, acquiring new gear, and customizing their defenses to tackle increasingly challenging levels. The game's blend of action and strategy provided a dynamic gameplay experience that kept players engaged for hours on end. They Are Billions, developed by New Mansion Games and released in 2017, introduced the survival aspect to the genre, challenging players to defend against massive hordes of zombies in a post-apocalyptic world. The game's unique setting and intense gameplay mechanics set it apart from traditional tower defense games. Players had to manage resources, build and upgrade defenses, and strategically place units to withstand relentless waves of enemies. They Are Billions offered a deep and rewarding challenge, appealing to both tower defense enthusiasts and fans of survival games. The 2020s have seen the rise of tower defense games on the popular platform Roblox. Games like Tower Defense Simulator, All-Star Tower Defense, and Tower Battles have garnered significant attention. These games offer a range of unique mechanics and styles, allowing players to team up with friends, strategize, and defend against waves of enemies. Tower Defense Simulator, developed by Paradoxum Games, quickly gained a dedicated following due to its engaging multiplayer gameplay and continuous updates. Players can choose from a variety of towers, each with unique abilities and upgrade paths to defend against waves of enemies. The game also features different maps and difficulty levels, providing endless replayability and a sense of progression. All-Star Tower Defense, another popular Roblox game, combines tower defense mechanics with characters from popular anime series. Players can summon and upgrade iconic anime characters to defend against waves of enemies, creating a unique and compelling experience. The game's regular updates and events keep the gameplay fresh and exciting, attracting a dedicated player base. Tower Battles offers a PvP mode which gives it a competitive twist, pitting players against each other in a race to defend their bases. Players must strategically place towers to send waves of enemies to overwhelm their opponents, adding a layer of strategy and competition to the traditional tower defense formula. The game's fast-paced and competitive gameplay has made it a favorite among Roblox players. From the early days of arcade games all the way until now, tower defense games have certainly changed over the years. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe because I am in a race to see who can hit 10,000 subscribers before Minty. Happy defending!